Thank you, Darwin, as always, for being our great Star Atlas DJ. Great music, and shout out to Bass Checkers for the track. And I have here on the stage two great friends, Michael. As always, how are you, Michael? All good?
Hey man, yeah, I'm doing good. Uh, yeah, and Darwin, thank you for providing the jams. Chip, great to have you up on stage as always.
Yeah, it's been a while. I'm hyped. I'm excited for today. So yeah, lots of information to cover today.
Yeah, man,
Welcome back,
very
Chip.
exciting
Welcome
time.
back to the stage. Yeah, we are missing you, man. We are missing you here. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's good to be back up. I'm excited.
Cool, cool. So we have a lot of things to cover today, and I know that everyone is excited for what we have. So as always, as we used to do here in the Atlas Stone Hall, let's go straight into business, if that's all right with you, Michael. But yeah, it's an action-packed town hall today.
It is, yeah, and I think it'd be great to before we really dive into things, just to kick off with some of the community updates, and
Yeah,
specifically the Tufa Attack Grand Finale. I know you've been following that closely, Santi. Maybe you want to share some of the details of what's going on and what's coming up this weekend.
definitely, yeah. So we have the Tooth Attack Grand Finale. Tooth Attack, if you don't know, is a game developed by Ratanaut Studios, which are basically Spritebomb Pixel and Rotodoom, two Star Atlas community members that developed the game for us to have fun all together and to compete. So from the Star Atlas side, we decided to empower the game by creating a tournament together with them in which everyone could compete, and basically you have to play and get the highest score possible. And right now only 25 people are left. If you want to know more about the Tooth Attack tournament and how it went, you can go scroll down a little bit. You will find the Tooth Attack tournament category, and you will see everything in there. But tomorrow is the grand finale. It starts at 12 p.m. PST, which is 19 UTC, if I'm not mistaken. So we will be live streaming in the Star Atlas TV Twitch channel, which is also community created. So all the tournament and the game and everything is community driven. So big, huge shout out to the Star Atlas community. You guys are the ones who are basically taking everything to the next level. And I can wait until tomorrow, where we have the 2 rounds of the grand finale. Basically, the top 25 will compete to get the highest score possible in only 1 hour. And after that, the 2 people with the highest score will compete 1 versus 1 for 1 hour. So yeah, it's going to be quite intense. Michael, are you going to watch it?
I'm going to make every attempt to be there. What kind of scores are we expecting here?
The crazy scores, man. Crazy scores. We had, at first we even thought they were cheating, man. Like it's insane. The amount of effort and hours that our community is putting in Tooth Attack. Because basically we had people with over 200,000 points. We thought it was impossible. But after checking, looks like our guys are just very, very talented. So yeah, it's going to be really intense, because basically everybody, the competitors will need to score as much points as possible before the hour runs out. So yeah, expect it to be super intense, Michael. We are going to have a lot of fun, in my opinion.
I love it, man. I just love, again, I say this, I think, all the time, but I can't emphasize it enough. Just love to see the community creativity out there, and just the passion, enthusiasm that's coming from everyone to build these projects tangential to what our core vision is here at Star Atlas. So super cool. Love to see this this tournament, but also looking forward to seeing what kind of creative ideas people come up with in the future as well.
Yeah, definitely. We, from the Star Atlas side, we plan to empower everything that is community related. So if you're building something and you want help, or you just want guidance or anything, just reach out to us, reach out to me, Dominic, Diego, or anyone from our mod team, and we'll try to help you in any way we can. because yeah, we are in this together, and we like to empower the as much as we can. So yeah, just never hesitate to reach out to us. That's the main thing. So now, Michael, we can speak a little bit about the Sandbox competition that is closing on Sunday. There are some big prizes as well. We'll cover it very quickly. But yeah, guys, you can win some huge prizes if you haven't submitted yet your entries. Make sure to do it. I saw a few ones that are really cool. I saw an Ustur painting a wall and like saying power to the Ustur instead of power to the people. That was really good.
Loved it. I've seen
Yeah,
some
that
great
was
entries to that. For anyone that's not fully aware, we're running a competition right now for asset creation in Star Atlas asset creation inside Sandbox. Sandbox is a voxel-based metaverse concept. This is majority held. The company's majority held by Animoca Brands. They have a ton of different brands within their portfolio, but Sandbox is one of the largest in terms of player adoption. It's a great community. It's built on Ethereum, and the objective here was to kind of take the first step towards interoperability. Again, we do talk a lot about the challenges of interoperability, and that exists across multiple layers. The first is a cross-chain interoperability. How do you transfer assets from, say, Solana to Ethereum or to Avalanche or to Flow or to any of these other up-and-coming layer one protocols that people are interested in building on? So the first challenge is identifying the bridges and identifying the paths for those assets to move from one chain to the other. The extension of this, though, is also thinking through the conversion of assets, particularly the fidelity of assets. So, in Star Atlas, we're building in both Play Canvas now, which is the 3D in-browser version of the mini game, but we're also building primarily in Unreal Engine. And again, Sandbox is a voxel-based environment. So how you build out an asset or design and create an asset that will live in that environment is significantly different. And I think this is one of the biggest challenges, actually, because you have to understand that the economic incentives also have to exist for somebody to want to create a new asset or transport an asset from one of these environments to the next. And so what we wanted to focus on this was kind of the community aspect of interoperability, creating an embassy of sorts, or creating a exposure to the Star Atlas community inside the Sandbox community, which is only the first step, but a step in the right direction towards how we think the metaverse will exist in the future, which is seamless interoperability between all different types of environments. If you have a ship in Star Atlas and you'd like to fly into Sandbox, you should be able to do so, because each one of these concepts and the metaverse kind of exists around all of this, and we think of us as not necessarily our own isolated metaverse, but rather just a doorway into that experience, this digital realm that we all can exist and persist within. And so, very exciting. I mean, I'm kind of running on this, but the competition has some big prizes. We've seen a number of great entries. The prize pool is something like 50,000 Sand tokens, which is the native token of Sandbox. And we're also giving away some $25,000 worth of Star Atlas ship NFTs based on the creations that people are submitting now. So I think the weekend, Sunday is the last day that you can submit your entry for an asset that you've created, and then that goes through a voting process, and winners will be determined, and those prizes will be distributed.
definitely, yeah, definitely go and submit, guys, because it's worth it. Like, you can pick some some really big prizes. So yeah, we encourage everyone to share on Twitter, because we are loving everything that we see. So now, Michael, moving forward, I think we can cover some general updates, especially with what happened this week with the whole market and everything that's going on. If that's okay with you, Michael, we can cover a little bit that.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, I really hate to start this on more of a somber tone, but I do think it's important that we address this 800-pound gorilla in the room, and it's market volatility, and it's the collapse of protocols like Terra, right, or Luna and UST, this algorithmic stablecoin, and general volatility in the crypto markets. We saw massive sell-offs, really synonymously across all different projects, and it's not isolated to crypto either. We're seeing a lot of uncertainty economically in the global economy, and we're in the middle of wartime as well, and so there's just a lot of uncertainty out there. What I do hope is that everybody's taking care of themselves right now. A lot of money can be made in these markets. A lot of money can be lost in these markets. It happens very quickly. But I think what's most important is that you're taking care of your mental health, right? I mean, you're here, you're
Definitely.
alive. Opportunities will continue to exist. So, I just hope it's not impacting anybody too significantly. And I would also just put a request out there for everyone, just to be kind, to people that are participating here. We're all at the forefront of a movement here operating in blockchain and crypto. And, there's a lot of challenges that are accompanied by the opportunities that are present. So just take care of one another, and take care of yourself also. Kind of along those lines, I know there were some questions. This came up in the foundation room. I just wanted to provide some assurances to everybody that, from a company standpoint, we're very well positioned to continue building what we're building at Star Atlas, despite this market volatility. We had a banner year last year in terms of revenue. We're well positioned on our runway to continue development and continue growing and continue building. We've taken a very conservative approach always to our treasury management and the assets that we're exposed to. And in fact, have no exposure to any type of risk on or volatile asset that exists in crypto outside of the Atlas that we've accepted for revenue. And we feel that it's very important for us to provide that support as being the kind of core utility driver of the Atlas token right now, accepting Atlas for ship sales, that we retain those tokens. And so I've mentioned this previously, maybe in some private channels, but we've never sold a single Atlas that came into us as a company in the form of revenue through those ship sales. But all of the stablecoin revenue that was generated was always held in a very safe, secure, and non-volatile fashion. So we're well positioned. We had no exposure to Luna or UST, as I mentioned, and we're in full build mode here. So just wanted to give everyone confidence that we're here to stay, and we're very excited about the future ahead. And we do have a very exciting town hall here today.
Yeah, just to cover as well, like on the market volatility and everything. The Star Atlas community is here for you. If you need someone to talk to, or if you need just to hang out, we are here. We are here all day, all night. We are a family, so never hesitate to reach out to anyone if you're going through some hard times, because we are here for you.
That's awesome, Santi.
Yep.
Yeah, and I mean these things, these things impact people on the team as well. So, but yeah, please take care of yourselves, take care of one another, and know that tomorrow's another opportunity.
Definitely, 100%. Some good news we have as well, Michael. We have good news as well.
We do have a lot of good news today. And again, chips up. We do want to focus the majority of today's town hall on giving you some background and information about the way that Scream's going to operate, which is the next generation of our in-browser gaming. So we want to dedicate most of the time to that. I'll just quickly note from kind of an operational standpoint, we might be a little bit light on coverage, not next week, but the following week. We do have some of the team members that are going to be participating in a team building corporate retreat event. And so we'll be on site with one another. This is very important for us as a team, as we are fully decentralized, a fully remote team, operating across some 26 countries, in virtually every time zone. So we spend a lot of our time in digital realm, interacting on Discord, interacting on Zoom calls or Google Meet calls, and otherwise coordinating digitally. And so this is going to be one of the first real opportunities that people from our team get together, spend time with one another, physically and personally, and just connect on that level. So coverage will be a little bit lighter, but we're obviously still here, and everybody's kind of paying attention to what's going on here in Discord and across social media. So please do still feel free to reach out to us if you need us for anything, but we will be spending a little team time together. And then one other piece of big news is that our cinematic trailer just hit 1 million views on YouTube, which is huge.
I lost the connection for a second, Michael. If you ask me something, I miss you. Like,
I thought that was the case. It was that awkward silence, but no, I was just saying we also hit that, that 1 million view mark on our cinematic trailer that we had rolled out last year in September. I might have lost him again. But while we're waiting for Santi's connection to repair, let me just kind of run through some of the other major feature releases that we have coming up for this year. We've been providing these updates. Again, I'm going to be fairly brief here simply because we're quite verbose in the way that we provide updates to each one of these now in the weekly roadmap updates, and big shout out to Jose again, as always, for curating and crafting the lore the story that goes behind each one of those updates, keeping you informed of project progress. But we do have 8 major feature releases coming up over the course of the year. We've talked about all of these, but it's the marketplace program. Maybe not mentioned is we do have a referral program coming up. Not going to share too much about that right now. We have Atlas staking, we have Polis staking, we have the Polis DAO, we have 2 multimedia deliverables that we'll release before the end of the year, and then we have multiple Unreal Engine experiences that we'll be releasing as well. So let me just start kind of in reverse there. The showroom is the first major feature release that's going to be coming up this year in Unreal Engine. We've been making great progress. It's really in a polished phase now. We're working on some of the UI components and dialing all of that in, and the way that you interact with the game client itself. I think one of the things that I perhaps have not mentioned in the past is that part of the requirements of building on the bleeding edge, as we do, is most of the infrastructure, the tooling, and system architecture doesn't necessarily exist. This was true for when we rolled out the NFT marketplace back in April of last year. We were the very first program that, or company that built out an NFT marketplace fully integrated with Serum DEX. We actually preceded the Metaplex NFT standard formation. And so in much the same way, the tooling that we'd like to provide to you all as users in Unreal Engine that integrates with blockchain also does not exist. And so we've actually developed out a software development kit, an SDK, that has a native integration of the Solana wallet directly into Unreal Engine. And so when we roll out the showroom this year, and that's going to be available for you to use as well. And really what that means is it's just a better overall user experience. You'll not need to exit the game client to sign a transaction and then alt tab or maximize again the game client. So we think it's an amazing innovation that we're bringing to the world, and it's something that we're looking at delivering out to the broader Solana ecosystem. So other teams that are looking at building on chain as we do, they'll have access to functionality like that. But really, again, the showroom mostly in a polish phase now, and just making some minor improvements, some minor tweaks, and looking forward to seeing that roll out. There is a kind of a secret project that's likely to be released either at the same time or around the same time of showroom. Kind of an isolated experience, but that's focused more on free flight in engine. So being able to kind of navigate around in space with NFT assets. And those are the 2. Yeah, man, those are they're both exciting. Really enjoying seeing all of the updates and progress on those from Danny and his team, and I think everybody that's listening in here and the broader Star Atlas community is really going to enjoy interacting with those. We're going to be building out, even within those environments, some mini game style gameplay. So there's actual replayability in there, but both of those will be multiplayer enabled. So you'll be able to interact with your friends and socialize and host guild meetings and otherwise just hang out with people that are also interacting with the game client.
That's going to be a lot of fun, man. Definitely. We need to start thinking of cool stuff to do. Yeah. Yeah.
So probably the first thing to come out this year, though, is really going to be the new Galactic Marketplace program. I think many of you, we sent out a request at the end of last town hall for anybody that was interested in doing some quality assurance QA testing with us, or UAT user testing of that, and giving us some feedback. And so we've now largely incorporated the feedback and improvements from everyone. on that, and we've completed the audit on the program as well. And so it's, again, looking very promising in terms of upcoming release. Santi, that whole 4 to 6 week meme is starting to look more and more like reality here. So won't be sharing
I love that
today, but
I love that.
I'm just super excited about where we're at on all of these products and what the second half of the year is really going to start looking like for us. And then just, quickly, I'll touch on the Polis DAO because obviously it's a feature that's in high demand, and looking forward to getting the governance functionality in there. As we roll out the Star Atlas DAO, this will also enable both Atlas staking, which is going to be accompanied with benefits on the marketplace. More to be shared on that later. But also, the ability to stake your Polis and start earning rewards and start participating in treasury management of that. And I think one of the most promising things about the way that we've structured the metaverse economy and the way that we're able to capture value, as we do in Score, wherein everybody that's spending Atlas today on the resources to participate in ship or faction fleet and ship enlistment, that capital actually flows into the DAO, and the DAO will have that opportunity to determine what to do with those funds. And we see a huge opportunity in being able to leverage that. I see Santi updated his name even. Wow, okay. But the DAO governors will have the opportunity to determine what to do with those funds. And we see things like user growth campaigns and running game jams and running hackathons and further supporting the creator community out there, people that are building things like Tufa Attack to further support that. So super exciting. We're actually three of the 6 underlying smart contracts that are necessary to deliver the DAO functionality are currently in audit, and it's looking like those will likely be completed sometime next week. We don't know what the results are. Current feedback is that there's no major security threats with that, and so it's very likely that those 3 will be ready to roll out. We're kicking off an auditing process on an additional 3 smart contracts that are necessary for the full functionality, and we anticipate a couple-week timeline on those audits. Pending the any feedback we receive from the auditing firms, we should be well positioned to finalize the high fidelity user interface, the full Web3 integration and wallet connectivity and governance function. Not the governance functionality, but at least kicking off with the staking and emission schedule for Polis distributions to those governors. A lot more to come on the DAO throughout the rest of the year, including all of that governance functionality and including Atlas staking and those benefits later this year. So outside of that, as you all know, we've been growing quite rapidly. In the last 2 weeks, we did bring on 2 additional product managers. We brought on a director of quality assurance. We brought on a quality assurance engineer, a gameplay engineer, an illustrator, a social media manager specifically for Latin America. We brought on a blockchain engineer. In fact, 2 of them, one a senior and one core blockchain engineer. We brought Unreal Engine quality assurance, infrastructure engineer, a junior token economy analyst, and a junior metaverse economy analyst. I've described, I think, in the past, but just to remind everybody, we put a lot of resources into the way that we are structuring economic design, and that is encapsulated in 3 really core disciplines. One of those is on the game economy, how we specifically think about gameplay functionality and driving utility and value and earnings off of gameplay. Another division is in the token economy component of this, so thinking broadly about tokenomics and things like Atlas and Polis, and again, ensuring that there's utility in those and how we continue to drive value and utility across the token economy. And then there's this bigger concept of the metaverse, which is really the idea of, in my opinion, the next generation of the internet. It's an immersive web. It's social, it's workplace, it's commerce, it's gaming, it's all of these things, all of these applications. And so, very broadly speaking, it's kind of like forming a nation state, a country that encapsulates the global population. And so these are all kind of complex sub-disciplines, and then we also have to think about how do these various disciplines intersect with one another. So we're scaling up the economy department currently as well. So let me pause there, Santi.
Yeah, man. You covered a lot. You covered a lot, and mainly Steven has been like everyone, but Steven has been crazy busy the past few months, man. Big shout out to Steven.
Yeah, both Eric, who was joined us up here on stage last week, and Steven, they've been doing some phenomenal work. The two that I mentioned are actually two new hires, and again, focused specifically on metaverse economy and on token economy. But I've been on a number of calls with Eric, Steven, and Chip as we go through gameplay on Scream. And Chip, I don't know if you have any feedback you'd like to share, but these guys are doing incredible work, and it's really driving the process and ensuring that we can get to into final stages of this as quickly as possible.
Yeah, no, I'd echo that. The amount of feedback, the feedback loop, and implementing economic considerations into the game design has drastically improved as soon as we brought those two individuals on, and I'm excited that we're continuing to bring on more members on the econ team. So yeah, excellent work from them.
Yeah, thanks, Chip. And let me just take an opportunity to say a big thanks to everyone on our team. I know how hard everybody works and how many hours people put in, and again, I say this all the time, but the passion and the enthusiasm, it really helps us create this best-in-class product. We couldn't be doing this without all of these incredibly talented people across the entire team, across every department. So feel very fortunate that we've been able to bring in the people that we have.
Yeah, 100% second that. So, Michael, do you think we left anything to cover on updates? I'm checking, but I think we covered mostly everything. And I have Chip here ready to spill the alpha, man.
Yeah, no, like I said, I want to spend most of the time on Scream today. And Chip, is it fair to say you've been really leading game design? I know we're working closely with Danny, but leading game design on Scream. And Mo, I'll give a shout out to you out there as well, product manager on Scream, and he's been coordinating all of the meetings and the various stakeholders. But quick mention of him. But Chip, you've been doing great work, man. Scream's looking like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've been super fortunate to be given so much ownership of the project as I've grown into this role as director of game system design. But yeah, I want to echo just the amount of work and effort going into this project. It is ridiculous. Stellar work from everybody. Shout out to Mo, because he's been the producer for this. He's the PM of this project, and he's the one that's driving us to getting this delivered ASAP. But then there's the econ team, there's the game design team, there's the web team, the blockchain team, the art, UI, UX team. Everybody working together to meet the game vision and the game design documentation. So yeah, shout out all around.
100%. Yeah. So just to preface, right before we jump in, I know, Chip, we've got some questions we'd love to ask you. I think a lot of these are coming direct from the community, so it's what the community wants to hear about Scream. There's some uncertainty out there about what this is actually all about. What I do kind of want to emphasize for the community is that we are building two distinct products as we continue to grow this company. The intention is, in the long term, is for us to be able to integrate the two, but in the meantime, we have to build on kind of parallel tracks. And in some ways, the feature set that's within Scream is going to differ than the feature set that's within Unreal Engine. The rationale for taking this approach early on was that we believe that we can build out the web-based experience at client much more quickly than we can build in Unreal Engine. I think many people that have been following us now for a while know that AAA game development takes years. And even with our iterative approach and modular approach, it's going to take us quite a long time to build out the highest quality content that will live in Unreal. Now, that doesn't diminish anything from what we're doing in browser. We're still bringing high quality and high fidelity gaming experience that will be fun. But what we can really do in the short term with the browser game is deliver on-chain mechanics And I'm sure we'll discuss this a little bit as we go through the questions today. But the blockchain squad's building out 12 different smart contracts that users will interact with as part of this gaming experience. That enables us to actually battle test all of those on-chain, all that on-chain logic, which ultimately can go live in Unreal Engine as well when the time is right. But it's also where the majority of the economic components will live in the short term. The Unreal experiences are mostly about experiencing that AAA gameplay and visualizing all of your assets in Engine. The browser will be the primary place where people will be able to engage and play to earn. Again, I'm extremely excited about the way that Scream is all coming together, and not only the gameplay but the economic incentives that are associated with that. And I really just wanted to outline that for people so everyone was well aware of the path that we're on and why we're building these unique products. Now, the browser client, I'll just say in closing, is not intended to be a short-lived product either. We see enormous opportunity in being able to reach a much broader audience in the long term. People that don't necessarily have the compute capability to interact in the fully immersive Unreal world, they'll still be able to access the Star Atlas ecosystem and economy via the browser. And at some point we'll look to extend this even to mobile as well. So really, truly trying to reach a global audience. And so that's some of the underlying rationale of why we're building this way. But without further ado, I think we should probably jump in here and hear it directly from the horse's mouth, if you will, what we're doing at Scream.
Thank you, man. Thanks for the great introduction. And yeah, man, we have here the one and only Chipto. Chip, man, I have been waiting to get you here in the town hall again. Are you ready? That's the main question.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's start with like a very short introduction. I feel like everybody knows you, but what you do at Star Atlas, just so everyone is aware.
Yep. So I'm the game system, or the director of game system design. What essentially that means is that I direct the definition process of all the in-game mechanics. So how does crafting work? How does player progression work? Leveling, combat, all sorts of that. All of those different mechanics, I direct those efforts, and I help assign team members and work with the other stakeholders to make sure that these mechanics are meeting the other requirements and constraints, such as blockchain constraints or economic sustainability. Is this too much scope? So that's essentially my job, is directing those efforts. And yeah, that means my typical day at Star Atlas is pretty busy. Managing not only the game mechanics efforts, but being in meetings with the other stakeholders. But it's a lot of fun. I wake up every day super excited. I don't care if it's Monday or Friday. Just working nose down and just trying to deliver the best product to the community. So that's basically a rundown of my day to day.
Thank you, man. Thank you for the great answer. So now let's dive deep into Scream, man. Let's dive deep into Scream. Let me start heavy on you, man. I will ask you 3 questions all in one, if that's okay. Because we want to know what this is Scream, like what is the context behind the Scream and why Star Atlas is doing a Scream?
Of course, great question, a lot there. So Scream is the sequel to Score. I know we're using project terminology there. Score is the faction fleet currently in browser, where players are able to earn rewards for keeping their fleet stocked up with what we call R4. And now Scream is the next iteration of browser-based on-chain gaming, where on-chain gaming means that all of our game logic is hosted on the blockchain. And what that allows us to do is keep it composable and extensible. That way, it's completely transparent where all of the game state is and where all the assets are in the game. It's completely transparent, but also community members and other entities can build on top of our game. And that's actually a very, very powerful concept. So let's dive into exactly what Scream is.
Let's go, man.
In the past, Scream was the acronym stood for Ship Configuration, Resource Extraction, and Mining. However, since we first came up with that acronym, we've iterated on the game design, and it's no longer 100% appropriate. However, we didn't want to change the name of the project yet again, because the community, at least the ones who've been with us for a while, recall when we first had More, and then we had that we had Cream, and then we have Scream. So it was like last thing we wanted to do was change the name again. However, the good news is Scream can still fit what we're doing, and so I would say it's more appropriate to say it's ship combat, resource extraction, and manufacturing. Now, so yeah, let that sink in for a second. But yeah, I'll stop there, and maybe we can go on to the next questions.
Yeah. Let's go to the next questions. I think this one is quite important, mainly because everybody wants to know like what is the main objective of the player in Scream? Like what will we be doing on a day-to-day basis? And also if you can compare to other games that are already existing, that would be cool.
Yeah, so let's start out with the context. In Score, the players have to choose their faction first and foremost. And as such, when you're in a faction, what players were doing or are currently doing still is they're dedicating their ships to their faction so the faction can establish the security zones. And the security zones are the zones in our map that the factions kind of have most control of, and they have security, they have militaristic forces that keep it safe and keep the resources, logistics, from being at risk of combat. So what the players are doing is they're dedicating their ships to securing those zones, and those zones are technically a collection of star systems in an area in the galactic map. Now, what's Scream? Scream is an extension of that. Now, when they hop into Scream, they will finalize the establishment of their faction security zones, and then they will be offered the opportunity to continue on into the medium risk zones, where they will not only engage in PvE, player versus environment, gameplay, but they will also engage in PvP, so player versus player gameplay, which that means that you will go head to head with the other factions. And what are they doing in the medium risk zone? You'd ask. So what the objective of Scream is for players to establish control of each of the star systems on the map by building a star base. And then the way they do that is they collect resources from the neighboring planets by sending ships down, mining from those planets, and then taking those to the star bases, refining resources, upgrading the star bases, and then establishing a logistics network to continue to pin down and build up each of the star bases. So it's like this node control or tower defense type gameplay, but you're doing that in the context of fighting for control with the Jorviks and the Ecos, our PvE factions, our banished factions, but also you'll be colliding with the other factions when there's key resources that you need and both factions want them. What's going to happen? There's going to be combat, there's going to be PvP.
Cool. Definitely really cool. Some people here in the Town Hall chat are comparing it to Stellaris colonization style. Is it comparable?
Yes, I would say one of the largest sources of inspiration is Stellaris. We do have our own unique gameplay elements that Stellaris doesn't have, but if you're trying to visualize what this game might look like, I would start thinking about Stellaris on how your fleets move around and how they can warp to star systems and build up starbase nodes.
Cool. So you said that there is like there's going to be PvP. So does that mean that we will be able to play with my friends and Dax? And will it be really important to coordinate it correctly? Like to have good coordination?
Yes, exactly. So because everybody is going to be playing on the same map, there's going to be a lot of coordination and strategy involved with where you attack, when you attack, and who you attack with. So I would imagine that the DACs that are able to coordinate the best and pinpoint strategic areas for conflict and then coordinate their forces to attack at the same time, that'll be a very good they will be rewarded, and that would be a very good tactic. But also, say you're just playing with yourself or your friends, if if you exist in the same location, both of you can enter into a battle together to take out an enemy. So that'll be extremely fun.
Yeah, definitely. There are going to be a lot of battles, I imagine, in Scream.
Yes, yes. The good news is if you don't like PvP, you don't like Risk, and I haven't talked about Risk yet. If you don't like that, you can play a lot of the core gameplay in the security zone. However, if you go into the medium risk zone, there is Risk now, but there's also there's more combat, but there's also more lucrative resources. However, you always have the option of falling back to the security zone and engaging in gameplay there.
Cool. Yeah, you opened the stage to my next question, and it's related to the risk zones actually. So risk zones are going to be involved in Scream, but do we have
Yes.
like high risk or not?
No. So one of the biggest questions I imagine on people's minds: can ships get destroyed in Scream? And the answer right now is no, because we're not implementing the high risk zone yet. That doesn't mean we won't get there. That just means for this first version, we're sticking to the medium risk zones. But what that does mean is, as the name implies, there's medium risks. So if you get destroyed, all of the R4 and everything in your cargo does not come with you. That gets burned and dropped. So you lose that. That's part of the medium risk. However, your ship will respawn back at a starbase. You will be able to repair it with toolkits and then get back into the action.
Cool. Yeah, and about resources, you just spoke about the resources. How are the
Yes.
resources going to work, man? Are they going
So
to be like the same than score? Are they going to be different?
no. So now there are currently over 20 resources in the game, and those will be emitted at different planets. There's currently 7 planet types that will have a mixture of different resources and a mixture of different locations they can exist at star bases. So players will have to find the right planet types for the resources they want, and then what they do is they take those resources to the starbase, and they will use those in crafting recipes to create R4, create products that they need to upgrade the star bases. So there will be a crafting system that players can engage in at the star bases.
Cool. That's really cool, man. That's really cool. So
Yeah,
for playing a Scream, I only need like my Phantom Wallet, some Solana, and a ship.
that's it. Yeah. So you will let's take day one. What'll happen is you will in Scream you will have opportunity to deposit some ships on day one. As long as you have some ships, you can deposit them in there, and then if you don't have any R4 already, you can buy that at the marketplace. But if you don't have any R4 already, you will be able to engage in some introductory gameplay that gets you some R4, and then off to the races on building up your faction points and player progression in Scream. But that's all you need: Solana wallet with some Solana in it for the transactions, and then at least one ship to play.
Cool. So that brings me to another question that the community has, and it's about fleet management. And are we going to be able to use all our ships, or how is that going to work?
Yes, so you will be able to use all your ships, but there's a caveat here. In order to ensure that the game is balanced from inception, players will have a limited amount of ship slots they can deposit into, and the way that'll work is that they will start out with a given number of slots, and then they will be able to upgrade those with Atlas up to support whatever size ship they currently have, and then as they play the game, they will earn points in the game that allow them to purchase with those points more ship slots, and then they will be able to get their entire fleet into the game. There's no current upper limit cap on the amount of ships you can get into the game. The mechanism is that it's throttled based on gameplay. So the more you play, the more hangar spaces you're going to get so that you can have your entire fleet. There's no cap there. It's just we thought hard about this, and we thought that we needed the balancing mechanism of limiting the amount of ships you can have on day one in there. However, here's the next question. I'm already anticipating it. Well, what about the bots and the multi wallets? Won't it make it better for them? Well, what it'll be is your own account, your account will progress, and it'll get more powerful, or it'll be able to accumulate more points faster. And it also, the way the game is structured, you're gonna want to stick to one account, because it's gonna be difficult to manage it'll be easy to manage your fleets on one account. It'll be difficult to manage them across multiple accounts. But then you also, as you increase in level, the capacity at which you can earn points, which is how you'll earn your Atlas rewards, will increase as well. So if rearing it one more time, I would imagine that if you had 4 ships and you split them across 4 wallets versus 1 wallet, that all 4 ships in 1 wallet will progress faster than split across multiple wallets.
Perfect.
If I can just jump in quickly too to describe a little bit of that transition process, if you will. We did want to ensure that there was kind of a level of fairness and not necessarily this kind of pay to win concept entering into Scream, as it is more immersive web gameplay. But at the same time, we will leave score alive during this transition period. So the ships that are not able to enter into Scream immediately, those can still be enlisted with your faction and still participating in earning via the score feature.
Cool. Thank you for the clarification. Not sure, Chip, if you want to add anything on that.
No. Yeah, very clear here that when Scream comes out, we will not be removing utility from your existing ships. We're just trying to ease the transition of all the ships into Scream in a fair and balanced way.
Okay, cool. So let's go back to the very beginning, Chip, if that's okay with you. So you mentioned day one, like we start in a Scream, and what happens? Like, how is the progression of the game? Where do we go?
Yeah, so day one, your ships will drop into the Central Space Station. So all three factions have their home star system that hosts their Central Space Station, which essentially is the highest tier starbase. Actually, starbases go up to 5 tiers. The Central Space Stations are technically tier 6. So your ships will exist at that starbase, or that Central Space Station, and what you're going to start doing is you're going to start deploying your ships out. You're going to extract resources, craft products so that you can build up the star bases at adjacent star systems. And by doing that, you will be rewarded in kind with faction loyalty points that you're going to use to purchase more hangars, purchase other things in a rewards store that will help in the game, as well as give you other in-game items or NFTs that will be exclusive to playing in Scream. But yeah, so you're going to be incentivized to do things for the faction to earn these points. And essentially what that is first, in the security zones, you're going to finish building up all the star bases. But then when you go into the medium risk zone, you're going to be attacking other star bases, and the faction will reward you with points for doing that, but also defending existing star bases from enemy attacks. That'll also give you points. And then depositing upgrade materials for the star bases gives you those loyalty points as well.
Okay, perfect. I think we covered mostly everything. Do you feel that we have something else to cover, Chip? If not, I want to open the stage for some questions before we close.
I'm pretty sure we can switch to Q&A. I'm sure there's plenty of questions regarding everything I said, and I'm excited to hear what everyone would like to know more about.
Cool.
I just
Michael, you unmuted yourself?
Yeah, just 3 things real quick before we move on. I'm chatting with Matei here, and I think we're going to be dropping a little sneak peek here for everyone. I'm not sure what channels that's going to be dropped in, but probably the Town Hall channel, so keep an eye out for that coming momentarily. Just quick caveat, this is all still kind of early with some placeholder art. working on things like scaling and probably some UI changes coming as well. I'll actually be dropping this momentarily, but while I do that, Chip, I just wanted you to speak maybe to two things. One, we've gotten a lot of questions about single player versus multiplayer, so you can speak to the multiplayer nature of Scream. And two,
Yes.
what I think is really cool, I kind of geek out on the economy, but we're going to be able to activate the player economy with R4. So maybe you can speak to both of those things, and I'm going to drop this image in the Town Hall channel.
Let's go.
Yes. So on the aspect of single player versus multiplayer, while you can play by yourself, the game is intrinsically multiplayer. It's an MMO, so you hop into a map and other players are going to be there with you. That doesn't mean you need to coordinate with them, and you're free to play the game however you'd like. But it's a multiplayer game. Now, on the aspect of R4, everyone's aware currently that Star Atlas sells the R4 to players in Score to support the Score consumption requirements. However, when Scream comes out, there will be a transition period where we now go to a purely player-based economy where all the R4 that is in circulation will eventually be all player crafted, and as such, there will be a possibility to make a profit just by becoming an R4 crafter or an R4 merchant. So that's very interesting. Where there's multiple ways you can play this game. You can do combat. You can do merching. You can do crafting, resource extraction, just to name a few. So yeah, that's very exciting as well.
Michael just dropped the alpha in the Town Hall chat, guys. If you want to check it, go to Town Hall chat, and I just pinned the message. So go to Town Hall chat, go to pin messages, and you will find the Scream sneak peek, which I think it's really cool. So thank you, Michael, for that, and thank you, Matej. Big shout out to Matej. And also, I don't want to forget to mention this, a huge shout out to Jose, because he has been working really hard on the Atlas Star, and we will find everything that we talk here about Scream and everything. You will be able to find most of the information in the Atlas Star that is dropping as well today. And Jose has been writing, I think, like a million words per day for this whole past week. So big shout out to Jose as well, and to the whole Star Atlas team, but Jose deserves it. So I want to open the stage for some questions. If you have questions about Scream, please feel free to raise your hand, and we will start letting people in for some questions. I just invited Riddick. Hello, Riddick. Welcome to the stage.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Doing good, man. And you? Oh, we lost him. Too bad. Well, hopefully he raises his hand again.
No, I think that was his question. He just wanted to know how we were doing.
Okay, we're doing good.
Yeah, doing well.
Yeah, doing really well. Okay, Riddick, you're back. How are you doing, my friend? Again, are you good?
That was the wrong button. Sausage fingers. Whoops.
Go ahead.
So a few questions. That looks pretty awesome. I'm not gonna lie. That was a pretty cool little alpha drop you just dropped in there, Michael. That looks really cool. It looks interesting. A lot different than Stellaris, in my opinion. Like, I think your guys' layout for the UI, I like it a lot more. It's a little more user friendly. So that's pretty cool. But my main questions. Oh, what's that?
Just gonna say, I think one of the things that really distinguishes us in this like sci-fi genre is just the aesthetic too. Bringing a little more light to the universe instead of the cold, dark steel and metal that's conventional. So I know Danny's working on a light mode and dark mode, so the optionality will exist. But all credit to the team. I just got to be the guy that kind of shared the image.
Yeah, amazing work, guys. I'll just cut to the questions because I'm sure a lot of people have them. First question, with classes of ships in Scream, is there going to be like a very different diversification when it comes to, like, say, you're running a fleet and you have it comprised of mostly bombers, or if you have it mostly comprised of fighters, will it be a very different dynamic? Like, say, if you're using your fighter squadron to do attacks or defense, and then using your bomber squadron, would you be trying to attack a hostile planet? Could you, maybe one of you guys, probably Chip, pipe up about what that might look like?
Yeah, we're in Scream. We're ensuring that each of the ship roles have a unique advantage. So I'm not going to go through all of them right now, but say you brought up bombers. So I'll talk about that one. So the current design states that bombers will have an advantage on hitting directly the star bases and the planets. And then the fighters obviously are best suited for dogfighting or ship to ship combat. So so to answer your question in a different way too, depending on how your fleet is composed, will give your fleet different material advantages in conducting all of the in-game gameplay loops.
Awesome, thanks for the answer. So in your perspective, it would be smarter to have a very diversified fleet to be able to run multiple squadrons in a safe manner, if you're trying to kind of be efficient strategically.
I personally wouldn't advocate for any fleet composition to a player. I would actually advocate that you get the ships that they feel like they want to do that role. So if I want to do a lot of fighting, I should probably get the fighters, the bounty hunters, the bombers. If I want to do a lot of freighting and moving resources from planets and more like merchanting type things, obviously the freighters. So that's what I would recommend players focus on.
Interesting. Thanks for touching on
Yep.
that. Okay. And final question is, what for the players that have larger fleets? You mentioned that score will continue. What will the differences be in the Atlas rewards compared to Scream? Like, obviously, it depends on gameplay and how much you contribute and how much you do. But if you were kind of, I don't know how we would compare it, but in an average sense for people that can't use their whole fleet or utilize it, what are your thoughts on that?
I might jump in here, Chip, and just clarify that we're still working through some of the underlying economics of what that transition strategy looks like, and what the timing on the transition looks like. So more to come on all of that. There will be kind of split emissions. It's going to be shared between Score and Scream, although we do have an upper limit still that we've not hit on emission capacity. We wanted to, I think I've alluded to this in the past, but we're staying within the inflation limits or emission limits that were specified in the economic paper. And so we have an emission curve. And so as a result of that, an upper limit of the quantity of Atlas that can be emitted over time. So we have some upper capacity that we can use, but we're still working on balancing out what the distribution will look like. What I will point out, though, is that the method of earning Atlas is considerably different in Scream than it is from Score. It's not time-based. It's very much activity-based. Chip, if there's anything you'd like to elaborate on that, I would open the floor to you.
No, that's definitely it. I think you covered it perfectly.
Right on. Yeah, thanks, guys. I appreciate that, and hope you're all doing well. And good to see you guys. Awesome town hall, and I'll bump myself down.
Thank you for the questions, Riddick.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. Good to hear from you.
Yep. We also have Bodhi here. Bodhi, go ahead, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Santi. Thanks for asking. I appreciate your comments about maintaining mental health these times, Wagner. I think that's significantly underrated. And moving into the question I have, we spoke a little bit about the more of like a horizontal balance when talking about the different classes of ships. I'd like to talk a little bit more or ask about the somewhat more of a vertical type balance for people who have their fleets skewed to the larger class ships. So just to give you an idea where I'm coming from, or somebody with just a single commander would be in the exact same boat, but I've got around like 75% commander, 20% capital, and then pretty much the rest is in large, and I don't have any small ships. So if you could give some, speak to that, maybe give some not financial advice on, what we could expect as far as being able to deploy those fleets that are very much skewed to the upside, that would be most helpful.
Yeah, so as soon as you horizontally expand your capacity for another ship via a hangar space, currently the only limit to getting those larger ships in is ensuring that you upgrade that hangar to support the commander size ship, and that's only Atlas. We now there we currently don't have in the design a cooldown on that. So if you can upgrade all the way up to hangar, like you have the Atlas funding that you're willing to commit to purchasing the upgrades, then you can go from extra small hangar to commander and instantly. Now, if we evaluate that that's problematic and there needs to be a cooldown, we might implement that. But right now, there's no limitation. You just have to ensure that you play enough so that you can purchase that next hangar space.
So the hangar space purchases isn't done by Atlas. It's done some other way, like in-game EXP or something like that. And then
the loyalty points is how you purchase another hangar space.
Okay. And then is there any way that you could give us some sort of rough idea about the Atlas cost for something like that, just so I can plan ahead? Because the way I'm looking at it right now, I just won't have any ships that will be able to go in unless I pick up some smaller ships. Depending on what that Atlas cost is, I feel like I should prepare.
Just going to jump in again and say that's one of those areas. Economic analysis not quite refined yet, so we're going to ensure that it's a reasonable cost to be able to get those upgrades in while maintaining some balance with new assets flowing into screen. So, can't give you any definitive answer on that one right at the moment.
Okay, and then just one last question. Oh, so go ahead.
Oh, I will say currently that is only a one-time cost, so I wouldn't expect a recurring cost to continue to keep that hangar space. It's a one-time Atlas cost to upgrade it, and then that hangar space tier persists.
Maybe just point out also that the key mechanism that is kind of the gatekeeping mechanism or bottleneck, if you will, is the requirement to actually be playing and earning those LP. Chip's just dropping all kinds of alpha today, but earning those LP. And so that's kind of the core requirement. We'll figure out what the Atlas burn is to get the upgrades.
And then my only last question is just how convenient it will be as you start upgrading vertically to the larger hangars. Will it just be as simple as swapping out your small ship for a medium ship? Like, that's very convenient, right? There's no other sort of limitations there other than upgrading the fleet and maybe possibly a cooldown.
Are you saying? Wait, I kind of missed the question. How to swap out the ships?
So I'm just wondering, for example, if I have enough Atlas to instantly get myself up to a large ship, and then I save up and upgrade the commander. It's just as once you upgrade the to the next size hangar, it's just as you can just swap it out easily. There's no other sort of limitation to be expected, other than possibly a timer.
Yes. Yeah, and you need to get the ship back to the Central Space Station to withdraw it from the game, and then you can. So the only time associated with traveling back to get out of the game, but then no other limitation to swap in a new ship.
Okay, interesting. So the hangar space is at the Central Space Station then. That's cool.
Well, not all of them. So you'll have your ships can exist docked at different star bases. However, in order to get your ship back out of the game so that it can be traded from your wallet on the marketplace and things like that, it needs to go through the Central Space Station to do so.
Interesting. Thanks for sharing.
Yep.
If I can jump in between questions, one thing that we didn't cover, Chip, that I think is relevant is kind of a refactoring of the way that R4 works. R4 being the 4 different resources that you all currently manage in Score. Those are being more closely mapped and more representative of the actual ship specification. So, food consumption, corresponding with the number of crew members that you have, and ammunition supply being tied to the type of ship. Again, Chip, anything you want to add to that? I think it's a significant improvement.
Yeah, so what we did was in Score, the ship performance was mostly a function of VWAP and a little bit of the role it was in. Now in Scream, it's highly correlated to VWAP, but it's more a function of the ship configuration, so the crew, the components, the modules, the manufacturer, the role, the size of the ship even. So that's all of that is taken into the formula now to make to have a higher fidelity and more interesting balancing of across different ship metrics. And also now there's way more ship metrics. There's not just R4 capacities and R4 consumption. There's health points and shield points and all sorts of other metrics that we've had to define to support this gameplay.
Thank you, Chip. And I do see some people out there that are commenting about stocking up on R4 resources. I would just kind of discourage speculating right now. You don't know if it's going to be easier to produce or cheaper to purchase in the Scream economy than what you'd be paying today. So just exercise caution. Don't speculate. Wait for more information. Still some good leadway until information is released. What we want to do is communicate well in advance of the release of Scream, so you kind of understand what the economic differences are. In fact, we'll be working on an economic paper that outlines the core differences between both of those features. So would again discourage speculation at this point. And also just want to mention, because I am reading through comments here, people are asking about badges on Score. And I know we've kind of teased some information on that. I'll just officially say right now, there is going to be a reward of sorts, a benefit that's going to carry through to Scream. So, to the extent that your ships are currently enlisted in Faction Fleet and you have those badges, there's going to be a little bonus for you. And also that bonus is going to be applied to Rebirth posters. Again, don't go out and speculate on these posters just because we're sharing that information. You don't necessarily know what those are, but we wanted to reward the people that are, those original holders of Rebirth posters. This is kind of the annual anniversary of sorts reward for Rebirth for this year.
Oh, that's some good info.
Another thing I'd say, and it's a little bit, standard, but I think we haven't said it on this town hall, is that all of the things that we've communicated about Scream are subject to change as we finish prototyping and playtesting. Now, we're coming on here because we feel confident in the design we're expressing here. Like, a lot of this is pretty firm, but that doesn't mean that we can't reveal something, a mechanic that needs to be changed when as we're finishing the prototyping and playtesting this. So I just wanted to reiterate that in case I understand a lot of people are going to speculate on this information, and I just want to say that it can change. So yeah, I'll stop there.
It's a great disclaimer. Dan's loving you right now, Chip. So legal department says thank you.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we are over 10 minutes from the hour, so not sure how we are looking with time. We have a lot of questions, but not sure, guys. Please let me know if you like. I see that you have a pretty packed schedule, guys, so I think we can move to the Twitter Spaces if that's okay with you guys. Let me know.
Yep, I'll be heading over there.
Perfect. Okay, so let me find the link to the Twitter Spaces and drop it here so everyone starts joining. Ash just share it with me. So as always, big, huge shout out to Ash for hosting the Town Hall after parties. We'll all be there. Right now, we are moving. Right now, I'm posting the tweet on Town Hall chat. So click on the link and go to the Twitter Spaces because this Town Hall is